Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your number one source for all things films and movies. And with everything going on with people being at home, movies being delayed, TV shows being delayed, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe definitely seems very vague as to when we can start to expect some movies to release. But real quick, if you want more content like this on maybe a faster basis, make sure you guys are following us on Instagram. There's a link in the description down below. We post a ton of content over there. Okay, let's go back to the video. This has actually been the longest break we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe pretty much since it started doing more than just one movie series, and it is very unique to be in this circumstance between the third phase and the fourth phase. But as we continue in through the end of this year, Phase 4 will be kicking off sometime soon with the Black Widow movie, but there's still a lot of questions as to what all of these delays will mean for the future of the MCU. And it looks like we have a little bit of a better idea nowadays since they've had some time to sort things out as to what we're going to be seeing soon and what the rest of the future of the series of the MCU will look like. Now, of course, we were actually supposed to have the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier already. However, of course, that show ended up getting delayed because it was in the middle of filming when all of this stuff started happening. So it is going to get pushed back, and we don't really have a clear idea as to when we're going to see this one. So that one's still a bit ambiguous. But let's go ahead and look at the rest of the release dates that we do kind of have something a little bit more concrete with. Now, November 6th, 2020, which will be this year, we'll be getting the only thing out of the MCU for the sake of this year when it comes to theatrical releases, but we will be seeing the Black Widow movie finally release after it got pushed back quite a bit from when we were originally expecting to see the movie. Then we should, hopefully, unless there's other delays, be seeing the debut of the first MCU in the Disney Plus side of things with WandaVision, which had pretty much concluded filming way back before a lot of the quarantine stuff started out. So it will be interesting to see at least what this has to do with the story, and since there were rumors that it would tie directly in to the Doctor Strange sequel, it is nice that we're going to be getting it a little bit early. Now, in February of 2021, to kick off the new year, we will be seeing the debut of the Eternals, which will introduce a whole new cast of characters. Not something we are really excited for, but it's going to lead into a really big year for 2021, as we're going to see maybe one of the biggest years when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as far as overall movie releases go. In 2021, we should be seeing What If and the Loki series sometime debut on Disney Plus in the earlier year, but these things of course are subject to delays, and we would maybe expect around this time or maybe into the summer to see the Falcon and Winter Soldier movie finally make its release. From the Sony side of things with the Spider-Man universe, we will be seeing Morbius release March 19th, 2021, which will be really interesting just because of the characters that could be in this film, but also the fact that we know that this will be in the same Spider-Man universe, and how this will tie into everything else is a big mystery right now, but we are really excited to see what could end up coming from it. May 7th, 2021, we'll be seeing Shang-Chi released, which is already mostly done filming, but we'll be seeing a lot of tie-ins to the rest of the MCU. We'll finally see the real identity of the Mandarin, and that's all the way out from a storyline that we saw from Iron Man 3, and we didn't really get to see it develop as much, so it'll be cool to see not only a callback, but maybe a more fleshed out version of the story. Then in June of 2021, we'll also be seeing Venom 2 hit theaters, which is another Sony Spider-Man movie. So you can see right here, they're really upping the production and overall volume that will be going into the Sony Spider-Man universe that likely will have ties to Spider-Man. We'd really like to see the confirmation also that Venom 2 does exist in the same universe as Spider-Man, but we kind of assume that it does. That's probably why in the first film they kept it very distant from everything that typically happens in the Spider-Man universe, with it mostly being in New York. We have Venom that took place all the way in California to try to keep them spread out so then they could decide what to do later on. But we're feeling like there was probably a deal made with the MCU to fully bring Venom into the same version of the Spider-Verse that has the ties to the MCU that we've seen in the past. Then we have more Disney Plus shows that are set to release in 2021 or debut sometime in 2021. We don't actually have concrete release dates just yet, but they're all still slated to release as of 2021. We don't know when and how they will release them and how they'll be staggered out, but it is exciting nonetheless that we could potentially be seeing Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, and Moon Knight all debut on Disney Plus in 2021. There were a lot of talks about the future of Hawkeye and rumors that Haley Steinfeld had signed on to possibly play the role of Kate Bishop, and that would be interesting to see in itself. But Marvel fans would be really happy to see all of that coming out in just the course of 1 year. And then we're back with Sony again, releasing their third film of the year with Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man Homecoming 3, which surprisingly is set to release in December of 2021, December 17th to be exact, which not only is going to be going for the big winter box office sales, but will probably be the one thing that will really establish Sony as a major player in the superhero genre now that they have multiple movies coming out on a yearly basis, or at least a somewhat interesting production cycle along the way. And it's kind of crazy, since there are ties to the MCU with this, that just a couple months later, in February of 2022, we'll finally be seeing Thor: Love and Thunder, which of course will star Natalie Portman returning as Jane Foster into the Thor set of movies. We might also see other characters who were in the first two Thor movies also make returns, so that would be really interesting as well. And then in March 25th of 2022, we will be seeing Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Now, this was a movie that originally was set to release a little bit earlier. It was going to have direct ties to the WandaVision arc, but it looks like it did get set back a bit. There were some moves that were made in Marvel kind of switching things up, but it is going to bring back the original Spider-Man trilogy director, Sam Raimi, and this might do a lot of interesting things with trying to develop somewhat of a larger multiverse in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's a lot of rumors circulating around that this could even have ties into things that they might do with other universes of existing superhero characters. Interestingly enough, we had that deleted scene not that long ago that was in the original Iron Man movie, showing that they had planned as early as the first movie to possibly have ties to other universes, as there's a reference to Wolverine and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And with Sam Raimi directing this movie, who was also the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, there's a lot of opportunities here, so this is definitely one to watch. But then May 6th, 2022, we'll be seeing Black Panther 2 release, which is one that is highly anticipated. A lot of people have been waiting for this one for quite some time, but 2022 doesn't stop there, as we'll also be looking at a Captain Marvel 2. So we will essentially be having two massive sequels back to back, just a couple of months from each other. Actually, three massive sequels if you think about it, along with a fourth movie. So 2022 is going to be a big year for returning characters and films, making kind of this comeback in that regard. But we also know beyond that, while the release dates are a little bit more vague, there's other movies that are in production. We've heard Ant-Man 3 has been greenlit and it's going to come out sometime. We wouldn't be surprised if eventually we would see a delay somewhere and Ant-Man 3 kind of replacing a spot if there's some production problems down the road, and that might be what they're holding on to Ant-Man 3 for. And we also know that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is set to release sometime in the future, though James Gunn has said that he's not going to even begin working on it until after he's fully done with working on Suicide Squad, which we just recently saw the cast reveal over at the DC Fandom event. But there's so much involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it can get really confusing with the actual timeline as to when some of these movies are expected to release, and we still don't even know what the big team-up movie will be down the road, even though we've heard execs at Marvel talk about how they have an idea of what they want to do. We've been speculating it's either going to be some sort of Civil War 2 or maybe a Avengers versus Mutants type storyline, but we really don't know yet, and we're excited to see what we will have in the future future. We expect some of the characters that aren't getting their own movies to make appearances alongside the other characters in future movies, much like we're seeing the Scarlet Witch appear in the new Doctor Strange movie. But we'll go ahead and turn this all around to you guys. What do you think of the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video.
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
I don't
See you guys.
know anybody.